and we're going to get ready to talk about some things. Okay, it says there's an error, but it also says I am live on Facebook. Hello, Instagram. Hello, Facebook. It's Carmen Bernard. How are you? This is Carmen Bernard. If you don't know me, I help people to make sure. Oh my goodness, it's saying it's getting an error, but it still shows as live, so I'm not sure. All right. I am I help people to protect their income. I help people to eliminate debt in 9 years or less, including their student loans, including their mortgages, credit cards, installment loans, car loans. Get rid of all of that debt so that they can start building wealth. I help people to prepare for retirement with a tax-free retirement income that they cannot outlive, as well as building a legacy of generational wealth. Welcome, 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 welcome. This is my first time going live on Instagram. I'm not neglecting people on Facebook, but that's why I'm looking in both directions. Tonight, I am specifically talking about one thing only. All right. And that is what is one specific thing that we can do to increase our wealth? What is one specific thing that we can do to increase our wealth? Wealth, what is wealth defined as, right? Wealth is defined as an abundance of valuable possessions, an abundance of valuable possessions. And, especially in our community, especially me, I'm older. Um, there's all sorts of limiting beliefs about wealth or about people with wealth, right? Another word for wealth that may help us with this is assets. Valuable possessions. It's also called assets. So, what's an asset? An asset is defined as a resource with an economic value that an individual that is owned and controlled by an individual or a corporation with the expectation that it will provide some future benefit, right? So it makes sense that we should accumulate assets that it will be able to provide us with a benefit in the future. What would that benefit be? It could be just or for our retirement. It could be for our children's future, college, weddings, businesses. It could be for our children's children, generations to come. But we definitely want to increase our wealth, right? And what is one thing that we can actively do to increase our wealth? Because one of the things that you're not going to be able to do is to put that money in a savings account. We all know it. If you did not know, now you know that when you put your money in a savings account, which is where we've all been told to put our money, go ahead and save, put your money in a savings account, we get a 0.25 interest back. And if you don't believe me, go to Google your bank and see what percentage you're getting on your savings account. And now you'll know why every year or every month when you see your statement, you suck your teeth. Because if you have a couple $1,000s in there, they're giving you back a couple of pennies. And so the bank is not a place to put your money. Saving your money in a bank, that's not a place. The bank is a place for us to do transactions. It's not a place to put our money for helping it to increase our wealth. So what can we do? We have to find some other vehicle where we can put our money, where we can get back more than 0.25% in our um, in our in our saving, in our money that we put up, monies that we're parking somewhere, right? So, with that being said, right, there are lots of different ways that you can increase your wealth, right? It could be you can invest in stocks and bonds and mutual funds, right? I'm not talking about that. That is an awesome way to do it, but you need to find someone with the expertise that can help you with that. I already have my money in the stock market and bonds, or some of my money in stock market and bonds. Do I know everything about it? No. Even today, I am learning more and more about the stocks. I have money in some crypto. I have some money in cryptocurrency. I call it my play money. I have some money in cryptocurrency. I have some money in the forex market. These are things that I'm learning more and more about. But can I speak to you about doing that? Absolutely not. Right? But that is one way. We can invest in real estate. You can wholesale. You really, get into wholesaling of real estate. You can get into short-term rentals. You can even do long-term rentals. You can do the Airbnb. You can invest in real estate trusts. You can do all of those things. Can I help you with that specifically? Absolutely not. I do have two children that are licensed. They are licensed real estate agent. I know, and one that's getting ready to be a broker for his own, agency and stuff like that. So you can call me. I can put you in touch with them. They can take you through investing in that kind of stuff. But me personally, I don't do that, right? Another area in increasing your wealth is reducing debt. You can talk to me a little bit about that, because I already said that I help people to eliminate debt in 9 years or less. Sometimes it's a little bit more. Most, an average of 9 years, you can get rid of all that student loans, all the credit cards, all the your mortgage, all of your loans, by specifically and strategically repositioning the money that you're already spending. So we're not making you spend additional dollars. We do a full analysis and see what you're doing, and we're able to move that into a place where you can be able to reduce that. What else can we do? All right. So yeah, you can talk to me a little bit about that. But you can start a business. And I love talking to people about starting businesses. If you don't know me, I taught business for a long time in the public school system. So you can talk to me if there's something deeper that you need to get into. You can speak to someone else. But I have a few clients that I help that are starting up their businesses and things like that. But that's not what I'm talking about tonight either, right? I am talking about basically investing in one particular asset, all right? One particular asset. And that asset I'm talking about tonight is called cash value life insurance. And if we're talking about cash value life insurance, we're specifically talking about permanent life insurance. Term life insurance is great. Term life insurance is another tool. Term life insurance is something that I utilize with many of my clients to do a combination of term and whole. Sometimes they can only do term right now, and that's what we do. But today we're talking about cash value life insurance. We talked about there's basically two types: term or temporary, and perm or permanent. Tonight I'm talking about permanent. Now there are lots of different types of permanent life insurance. A permanent life insurance is not just a permanent life insurance, right? So there are many different types of whole life. I'm talking specifically about participating whole life with a mutual company, a mutual dividend paying company. That's the type of insurance that I am talking about, right? So you can have a final expense policy. That's a whole life policy, but that is not that's a non-participating type of policy. And there's several of them out there. Basically, non-participating policies are held by companies that are owned by stockholders. I'm talking about cash value life insurance that is owned by you, because it's a participating whole life insurance policy. So dividends at the end of the year, any extra money that is made is paid back to you in the form of a dividend. And why is that important? Think about compounding interest. Every dollar counts when you have compounding going on top of it. So That's the type of insurance I'm talking about, is a um, permanent whole life participating policy. I made some notes here, because there are lots of different kinds of insurance policies. There's limited pay policies. I can help you with that. That's not specifically what I'm talking about. We can actually set up, structure your policy so that you're only paying for a limited time, right? There's single premium policies. This is very important, especially when someone is doing wants to use this to help them to do some other investments. So if you have your money just kind of chilling in a bank account, not making any money, we can move that into a cash value life insurance policy where it's now bringing you 3 and 4% as opposed to 0.25%. So like 16 times what you would have gotten and more what you would have gotten in an insure in a in the bank you can get, right? I'm talking about, there's in variable universal life policies. There's index universal life policies, and I'm speaking to you specifically on the whole life and the index universal life. These are policies that the reasons for you to want to invest, let me change that. The reason for you to want to use these as tools for helping you to increase your wealth, right? It's not, everybody will tell you that life insurance is not an investment, but life insurance is a place, this high cash value insurance is a place for you to park your money and hedge against inflation for the most part. Because in the banks, you're losing money. You are not you're getting less than 1%. And inflation for the last 100 years has been running at about 3%. So if you don't have a vehicle that's giving you at least 3%, then you are losing the purchasing power of your money. So we want to use a cash value life insurance policy to help you with that. Why should you consider this? Why should you consider this? Well, number one, it is the easiest way to buy assets, especially when you are young and healthy. The easiest and most inexpensive way, it's actually buying dollars with pennies, right? Buying dollars with pennies. What can it be used for, right? You can use it for an emergency fund. You can use it to help you to eliminate debt. I talked a little bit about that. You can use it for investing in other assets, right? You can use it for college planning for your children. You can use it for funding a business, a wedding, right? Whatever it is that comes up, you can use it. Here is the magic of it. When you place your money into a cash value life insurance policy, yes, there's a portion of it that pays for actual insurance, but the rest of it, you are actually going to get compound, compounded, non-interrupted interest on it. What do I mean by that? So if you have $10,000 of cash value in your policy, and you have an opportunity to maybe invest in something, let's say it's a Airbnb or a fix and flip or something like that, you can now go to the insurance company and you can borrow against, and I know some people are like, borrow, it's my money. I'm going to tell you why it's more important for you to borrow against the money that's in the policy, which is now going to be used as a collateral. You can borrow against it. So if you go there and you borrow $5,000 from it to go and do your investment, you know that that investment is going to pay off within the next 6 months. Here's the cool thing about it. You can ask the insurance company, hey, send me a check for $5,000. You don't have to give them a reason. You don't have to apply. You don't have to have any credit checks. You don't have to do anything. It's no stress, a no stress loan from yourself, basically, against yourself, right? And you ask the insurance company to send you that $5,000. The insurance company sends you the $5,000 and you go ahead and invest it in whatever it is that you want to invest. However, in your policy, you had 10,000 to begin with. That 10,000 continues to grow. That 10,000 continues to get the compounding the interest against 10,000. Let's compare. If that 10,000 was in the bank and you borrowed 5,000 out of it to go do something with it, the bank, you would lose the investment, the returns that you were going to get on it. You will lose that because now it's only compounded. Interest is only compounded on 5,000 because you borrowed 5,000, right? Second of all, let's say you were like, well, I could just leave my 10,000 in the bank and then I can ask the bank to lend me 10,000. Yeah, you can do that, but that all depends. How is your credit? Are they going to lend it to you? What questions do you have to have answered? But don't get me wrong, there are times when borrowing is better, right? For good debt, you can borrow, but here's an opportunity for you to borrow. But this is good debt because you're borrowing against yourself to go invest in something else, but you have not depleted your balance in your cash value. It stays at 10,000 and continues to earn, right? Now, why would the insurance company do that? Well, there is interest when you borrow. Like it's just as if you're borrowing, you are becoming your own bank. Not it's just as if you are becoming your own bank. So you are going to borrow at an interest rate. And it's the simple, most companies, it's simple interest, at least the companies that I do business with, it's simple interest. And so most of the times, most of the times within that year, if you put back in all of that money, then you do not have to pay any interest. It becomes a wash loan because now you have put it back in and you don't have to pay the interest. What if you decide, what if something happens and you have to continue to hold the money out? Then it's fine. No one is hounding you. No one is calling you. No one is telling you you're behind in payments because you borrowed from yourself. And as such, now you can use that money to, now you can just continue to have the use of that money and then you pay the interest to yourself, that is, or you pay back against the loan, the interest that you've borrowed is simple interest and no one is hounding you, right? So it's a good place. It is an alternative, a better alternative place for you to save your money, to create your own savings, your own bank, and bank against yourself. So that's what I'm talking about today. I am talking about how you can create your own bank, right? And here's the thing. This has been going on for a long, long time. It used to be so bad because the politicians, the wealthy people, they were really taking a lot of advantage, right? They were basically putting their money in here. And did I tell you when you take that money, you take it tax free? So they were basically using this as a tax shelter to hide money. So then they have to, the Congress came back and made certain rules about how much money you can have in there without it being tied to a life insurance death benefit. So there's no regulation on how much you can put in there. It is based on your death benefit, right? So the higher the death benefit, the more you can put money into something like this and save and earn and compound more on your savings. Isn't that wonderful? Right? The problem is no one is telling us that nobody's telling us that, but I am here to make sure that we learn that. So the one thing that you can do is to open a is to open a cash value life insurance policy. You want to talk with me, because the types of companies that I use ensure that you are getting, I'm going to ensure that you have the right one. I'm going to ensure that it's structured properly, so that you get the best for whatever it is that you're doing. There are some unscrupulous insurance agents out there that will set it up so that it is benefiting them most in the early years or in the long thing. But I'm talking about doing something where it benefits you the most, right? So there are the two that I want to talk to you about is an index universal life policy, or IUL. That is typically something that you want to use for the long term. You want to use for the long term. Why do I say that? Because it comes with some, if you put it in there and you're going to take it right back out, then it's not going to benefit you most, because you might end up losing some money due to fees and things like that. So if you know that you really truly want to put away this money for the future, and you want it to grow, you want it to participate in the market without any kind of volatility, without any kind of risk of losing any money, this is where you will put it, and you will enjoy participating in the upside of the market. So when the market goes up, your money will go up. If it goes up 30%, will you get 30? No, there's a lot of times there's a ceiling of how much you would get. And then there's a floor of a 0 or a 1% floor, depending on what you choose, that no matter if the market goes down, you will not lose any money, right? So this is a very good place for you to place your money, right? And I talked a little bit about all the things that can be done with it. Let me give you something else, right? And this with the index universal life policy. You can put this on your children. Not only you can put it on your children, but you should put it on your children. Why should you put it on your children? One, they are young, so cost of insurance is going to be pretty minimal, which means that most of the money that you're putting in there is going towards saving. So it's like creating a giant savings bucket for your child that you control. Remember what I said, assets is something that you own and control. So you control it, and you can decide when to use it for whatever. So if that child is now, you started at 2 weeks old, the child is now 10 or 12, and you have to do braces or something like that, that's where you can go to get it to do such thing. And then instead of paying the medical or the dental office, one of those things that you take out, because a lot of times insurance companies do not cover the full cost of braces, and you have to pay the rest, and then you have to do a monthly thing with them, and they don't do it for free. They're charging you. And instead of paying that 10 or 12%, you take it from yourself and you pay back yourself. Meanwhile, your money still keeps growing in there. So that's a good reason for doing it on children. You can use it for college funding. Depending, I've heard some negative naysayers would say things like, well, it's not going to be enough for the child for college. It all depends, right? Who knows what the child is going to need? How much are you putting in the first place? And that's only limited by how much you are covered by, because and your assets and things like that. That's limited by that, right? Or limited by basically that's what it's limited by, right? So if you're putting in $500 a month on a kid that's 2, when that kid is 15 years old, you're going to tell me there's not enough in there for college planning? Of course there is. But if you're starting at the child is 15 and then its child is getting ready to go to school in the next 2 years, maybe that wouldn't work. But should you not do it? No, absolutely not. You do what you can when you can with the best you can. All right. And then, of course, it's always better to put it on you. And because then that gives you a higher threshold for what you're putting in. And so there's more money available. And if something were to go wrong with you, something were to happen, you know that your child will always be taken care of. Now, that's just today's talk on cash value life insurance. I'm going to come back, show you another day exactly how it works. Like when you pay your premiums, how does that work? How is it that you can take money out and your money is still in there growing? How is it that you can how is it that you can borrow against it, right? And I'm talking about, when I talk about whole life cash value insurance, you can start a plan today. And once it's approved, you can borrow against that in between 10 and 30 days. So I am not talking about you got to wait for years and years and years or anything like that. Now, can you put in $100 and then turn around and borrow 500? Absolutely not. It's you can borrow up to what is you own in there. The biggest takeaway I want you to take from this is that the more money that you put in there is the more interest that gets compounded on there. That means your money is working for you. That's what that means. Are you letting your money work for you? And now you've got an asset, something that you can show, something that you know that will bring you a benefit in the future. And I didn't talk about this, and we have helped to bring down that gap. We have got to increase our wealth individually in order to bring down that wealth gap between us and the other communities, right? We have 17 cents for every dollar that they have. And if we can start with a cash value life insurance policy, and even if that brings us to 20 cents, we have narrowed that gap. All right, that's it for today. If you have missed, if you're listening on the replay, say hashtag replay. If something resonated with you, hit me in the inbox me, message me. You can reach me at carmen10k.com. That's my digital business card, carmen10k.com, to get your business in front of of your clients, of your potential clients. You want to have everything in one place. That's my digital business card, carmen10k.com. Carmen10k.com. Hit me up if you want to learn about how you can do that. Hit my business card. You're going to be impressed with it as well. So even if that's all you want to do is to get a business card like that, you can hit me up and see how you get yours. And every time you refer to someone else, you make some money. That's another form of passive income coming in that you don't have to work for if someone else does it. All right. Talk to you soon next Wednesday. Thanks for dropping in, and have a wonderful day.